Hey y'all. So when I said about building a roll cage for the EXO, this is what I meant. So essentially, I'm going to be doing the exact same thing that I just did with this PVC pipe to the electrical conduit pipe of the same size diameter. So as you guys can see, when you get a heat gun, which is right here, this thing's older than, it's one of the first tools I think I ever bought. But anyways, yeah, all you need to do is basically warm up the ends with the heat gun, and then you just, I thought I would have to compress them with this, but no, they compress very extremely easy. So what I did was I put it here on the edge and used another piece of PVC to kind of smush it flat. And as you can see, that line has to be important. This line going through here has to be the same. To be able to attach other pieces. But as you guys can see, the idea would be to smush this, smush the part that would go into this, which is the right angle, and then bend this part over so that it can meet with this, put a hole, and then you just put a bolt in between those two pieces. And again, the advantage of this is round tubing is extremely hard. It's extremely strong, uniformly in all directions, as opposed to I-beams and other kinds of metal structures. This gives you a all-around uniformity and strength. By flattening this end, it gives me even more strength where the pieces will come together. Because now you've got a flat piece going into a flat piece, so that's a lot of steel at the end. And just put a bolt through it and then solder that bolt so it doesn't come back out again. And that's kind of like how I'm going to build the whole structure of the exoskeleton. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm just going to melt a couple of pieces. This actually went by very quick and very easy. For the electrical conduit pipe, I do live in a residential area. I do not have a workshop. That is the one thing that limits me the most. Funds, obviously, but more than anything, having a place to be able to stage and have all my tools and have everything. Because the thing is, I do this shit mostly like downstairs here or in my room, so I gotta bring everything out, use it, pick it all up, and take it back. So if I had a workshop, I could just leave my tools hanging out all over the place and just grab them as I need them. So again, this is how I'm, because sometimes I realize that I'll say something and it's not understood. You don't know what I'm talking about. If I had this tube and I said I'm going to squish the ends, but now you physically see it and you say, oh, okay, so that's what he meant. But as you can see, that if I put a tube here at an angle, you know, I squash this tube and then angle this squashed part sideways, this will go on there, and then you just have to put a bolt on there, and you've got a extremely strong point of contact. So that's kind of like what I'm going for. And I may have to bend these parts at different angles and stuff, which is fine, but I will be repeating this exact same process with the electrical conduit. And that electrical conduit was, I thought it was going to be like really easy to cut and very easy to bend. No, it's hard as shit. That galvanized steel is ridiculous hard. I mean, even on the press, I have to put an extension on it and tighten it, and it still doesn't want to go. So on that one, I might cut here and cut here, and that'll make the compression process a lot easier, because this little bend here takes a lot of energy to bend a tube. But then I have to get a press, thinking about maybe Arbor Freight or Jegs. Has a little small little 8-arm that's about 6 tons of pressure, which should be enough to crush the galvanized steel piping. So I can make these kinds of structures. But basically the whole EXO will be made from this kind of material, in this fashion, and will be attached like that. So in a few minutes, hopefully, I can get the other one done and get the other two pieces and attach them all together and actually show you guys how the exoskeleton is going to be put together. And again, it's much easier to, let's say, do this to this pipe and drill a hole and put it together, and then say, oh fuck, it's too long, or it's too short, or it needs to be adjusted. If you do that in the steel, you're kind of like fucked, because now all this work, let's say this one doesn't go where it's supposed to and I need to make it a little shorter, all that work done on a galvanized steel pipe is done. So the principle is to mock it up with this pipe, then use the galvanized steel pipe. Now another thing that I want to do structurally to increase the strength of the galvanized steel pipe, and you can do that with PVC as well. In fact, I did it one time. I built a structure out of PVC and it kept kind of wobbly and bendy and stuff. So what I did was I drilled 2 holes, right, in the pipe, something like this. If I drill 2 holes in here, and then I take expanding foam, which is basically you just stick a can it has this long tube, and what you do is you just start from the middle as far as the probe will go, and you just fill it up to here, and then do the same thing on here. And what happens is when you have expanding foam inside the PVC tube, it makes it ridiculously rigid and hard, because now you have a solid structure inside. At the same time, it's advantageous because the foam is very easy to apply, and then later on, if you wanted to seal the holes, you could even do that as well, with some Bondo, or maybe JB Weld or something, or maybe even weld the little hole back closed if you really wanted to get technical, solder it or something. And then you'd have a pipe that is hollow but filled with foam, and makes it a lot more rigid. I mean, very strong. So I imagine that the same principle would work with the galvanized steel to keep it from bending. If you've got air inside, that's going to put a little bit of pressure in there, but mostly if you've got a solid like that expanding foam and it does get pretty hard, then you've got like something that gives it another level of strength, which it didn't have before. So anyways, just to show you guys, this is what I got so far. And again, I'm kind of screwed here. To cut the galvanized steel pipe, I'm going to buy at Arbor Freight. It's okay. What I'm using to cut this is this. It doesn't make any noise. I don't need a Dremel. I don't need a hacksaw. And you just put it on the pipe and it cuts the pipe cleanly and easily. So there's something similar. It's a tool that cuts piping, and basically has a little rotary, like a knife, and what you do is you tighten it on there so it goes like a vice grip, like kind of like this, and it grabs the whole pipe. And then what you do is you just spin the pipe and then tighten it a little bit more, spin it again, tighten it, spin it, and it will eventually cut through the whole pipe, and it gives this beautiful, nice and clean cut. And most importantly, it's quiet. So, because I don't want to make a lot of noise in a residential area. So once I have this mocked up and I have it built completely, I will know exactly what size the pipes need to be. I'll know exactly what how much they need to be crushed, what angles they need to go at, and if I run into any kind of engineering issues, then I can solve them with this without having to cut the pipe and go through all that mission and welding and all that shit. So anyways, this is what I got so far, and in just a couple of minutes, hopefully I can bend the other one and the other two and just make a square structure to show you guys what it looks like. All right, peace.